Hey hockey fans, have you ever heard about the Maple Leafs' failures to ever beat the Bruins in the playoffs? Toronto has not won a playoff series against Boston since 1959, and the Bruins only had to go to 7 games in 2013, 2018, and 2019. Seems like the Maple Leafs' DNA hasn't changed much in the past 5 years with their playoff appearances. They are a strong team, but with some obvious weaknesses on the other end of the rink. But the question is, what's the reason behind the consistent playoff failure? Let's take a deeper dive into that subject and make sure to watch until the end. The Bruins' power play struggled over the stretch of the regular season, and it was quite concerning how badly the first power play unit performed. Pavel Zacha scored a power play goal against the Senators, but their man advantage has been virtually non-existent over the past month. They've struggled with zone entries, overpassing, and just about everything else you can on a power play. Justin Brazeau scored on the second unit, but an injury sustained on April 2nd against the Nashville Predators forced him out of the lineup. Regardless of how much they have struggled and how effective the Bruins' penalty kill has been, the Maple Leafs are going to be testing the Bruins' penalty kill. So, staying out of the box will probably be crucial when it comes to limiting Auston Matthews and company's power play opportunities. The Bruins have had the NHL's finest goaltending over the last 2 seasons. It's actually true. Linus Ullmark won the Vezina Trophy last season, but was sidelined by an injury during the playoffs against the Florida Panthers, who recovered from a 3-1 series deficit to win in the 7-game total. Jim Montgomery resorted to Jeremy Swayman in Game 7, but perhaps he should have done it a game or 2 earlier. He didn't, and despite Swayman's strong performance in Game 7, the Panthers triumphed in overtime. Swayman outperformed his teammate for much of the season, but Ullmark had the stronger performance in the last month. Swayman has historically performed better versus Toronto than Ullmark has, so it wouldn't be too shocking if he starts Game 1. In fact, if Montgomery continues with the rotation, it's likely to be Swayman's time. The Bruins have one distinct advantage in this series. It's between the pipes. If Swayman and Ullmark can outperform whoever is in goal for the Maple Leafs, Boston is likely to advance. If they suffer, it will almost certainly allow the Maple Leafs to win the series. But there is a loss as well. The Bruins tend to lack depth when it comes to scoring. If there is one thing you can count on in this series, it's that the Maple Leafs will fire a lot of rubber at Swayman and Ullmark. Though how many of those rubber pucks go in the net remains to be seen. However, the Bruins have lost some games this season due to a lack of depth in scoring behind David Pastrnak. This simply cannot happen against Toronto, and if this series becomes a shootout on a nightly basis, the Maple Leafs are going to gain a significant advantage. This season, there was a significant reduction in production after Pastrnak, which absolutely cannot continue into the postseason. Danton Heinen has had a good story, but Brad Marchand, Zacha, Charlie Coyle, and Jake DeBrusk are going to need to find their way onto the score sheet. DeBrusk is a major wild card in the series because when he's on, he's scoring, making plays, and just creating opportunities. When he isn't, he just kind of doesn't stand out on the ice. Production from the defenseman will also be important. This is likely to be an extremely exciting first-round series. Either way, one team's season is going to end in May and the other team will advance just like every single year. Do you think that the Maple Leafs have what it takes to break the streak this playoff round? One of Toronto's greatest strengths is their offense, especially at 5-on-5. Let's talk about why. It should come to no surprise that a team with Auston Matthews with 69 goals, 107 points, William Nylander with 40 goals, 97 points, Mitch Marner with 26 goals, 85 points, and John Tavares with 28 goals, 64 points, is a team that's going to heavily rely on its potent and consistent attacks to keep rivals on their heels. The Bruins will have their work cut out for them when it comes to distributing defensive zone minutes to the blue liners like Brandon Carlo, Hampus Lindholm, and Charlie McAvoy, especially with the Maple Leafs coach Sheldon Keefe spreading his top forwards throughout the depth chart. Charlie McAvoy and the rest of the Bruins defensemen have a challenge to conquer against the Maple Leafs in this series. Toronto has also received secondary scoring and much-needed jam from Max Domi with 47 points, and an old acquaintance Tyler Bertuzzi, who has 14 goals and 21 points in his last 25 games. Despite their high-end talent, the Maple Leafs are not a rush-heavy club, dealing the majority of their damage with shots from the slot and from grade A ice. Toronto is one of the league's finest 5-on-5 teams, ranking 8th in goal differential at plus 33 according to MoneyPuck. If the Bruins are to stave off Toronto's strong offensive, their defensive structure must hold its own in front of the net. This season, the Bruins allowed 11.42 5-on-5 high-danger scoring chances per game, ranking 24th according to Natural Stat Trick. Meanwhile, the Leafs ranked 3rd in the league with 12.61 high-danger chances per 5-on-5 in their favor. Goaltenders Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman have compensated for the Bruins' lack of slot protection. However, if the Bruins continue to make mistakes, they're likely to get burned. Toronto's defense is in flux. Toronto has acquired some muscle to its blue line with 6'5" Joel Edmondson, Simone Benoit with 245 hits, and Jake McCabe with 129 blocks. But the team's defense still remains average. The Bruins are 6th in goals against per game with 2.7, while Toronto is 20th with 3.15. Some of those flaws may be attributed to goalies, but Toronto also ranks 17th place in 5-on-5 high-danger scoring chances allowed per game at 11.19. Keefe has some choices to make when it comes to selecting the top 6 defensemen for the playoffs. According to Natural Stat Trick, Toronto used 20 different defensive pairings this season, with at least 50 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time. There are some problems on special teams. Despite their offensive prowess, the Toronto Maple Leafs power play has also struggled, converting only 13%, 9 of their 69 chances in the last 22 games. Even the Bruins' struggling power play has been more effective during the same period, with 17.9% since March 2nd. However, the Bruins' penalty kill will still face a challenge against the Maple Leafs' power play, which ranked 9th overall this season at 24.3%. Toronto went 1 for 11 on the power play against the Bruins this season. Toronto's penalty kill has been an issue all season, ranking 23rd in the league with 76.9%. On the other hand, the Bruins' power play capitalized on 30% of its opportunities while sweeping all 4 games against Toronto during the regular season. We hope you enjoy learning these insights about the Maple Leafs' failures to defeat the Boston Bruins in the playoffs. If you like our hockey content, please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Leave us a like if you want to support the channel, and have fun watching the playoffs.